I rarely prey on people's downfalls, but the fall of sneaker reselling is one I hope would come. And over the last 6 months, my prayers have been answered. I knew sneaker reselling was dying when I saw my local resale shop close down. And the worst part was, it wasn't even open for a year.
Sneaker reselling. Sneaker reselling is finally dead, which leaves the price gougers and resellers back to where they started working their 9-to-5 jobs, and I'm not mad about it. Now, there's a reason for the downfall of sneakers, and right now, reselling is on a downward trend coming into 2025. The biggest reason is the oversaturation of releases. Brands like Nike, Adidas, and Jordan are releasing way too many sneakers in a very short period of time, resulting in the prices to fall. Even really hyped releases with collaborations like Ama Manier and Union are sitting at retail price. Now, even Jordan retro releases are sitting on shelves or even at Nike outlets. And this all results to the hype and resale prices dropping down. Excessive colorways and weak collaborations are diluting the market, resulting in a decline of demand and hype. Brands like Jordan are just pumping out collaborations left and right, re-releasing shoes that would have been originally really hard to get and limited, and now doing GR releases, which essentially means they're putting out hundreds of thousands of pairs every drop, so pretty much any consumer can get their hands on him if they want to. Now, this new strategy that Nike and Jordan are doing is not by mistake. They want to have more money for themselves and take away money from the resellers. But on the other hand, this is decreasing their hype and demand, making a lot of their releases not as popular. What a lot of consumers are doing is becoming more selective with the products they're purchasing. A lot of times, consumers and collectors would go out and buy almost every single release on a Saturday, but because of the high amount of drops and so many collaborations, it's just not even possible to pick up every single shoe, every single release. That is resulting in the consumers being very selective in their preferences, typically choosing either more unique releases or more hyped collaborations. This essentially means the thrill of exclusivity and getting new sneakers is gone, and resellers cannot keep up with this new trend and are having to resort to go back to their old jobs or just quit sneaker reselling altogether because there's no money to be made in the industry. Sneakers are more readily available, and consumers are finally been given the chance to get the shoes they actually want without having to worry about price gouging and resellers taking up all the stock. And now there are a lot of new trends of sneakers rather than just regular Jordan retro releases. A lot of the younger audience has moved to different types of sneakers, such as designer brands, New Balances, or even Timberlands are coming back in style. And because so many shoes are being released every week and every day at this point, resellers are down bad. And for everyone who really wants to get their hands on a pair, either can, or if it's a limited release, they opt for replica sneakers. Replica sneakers have become really popular within the last few years, and it is now socially acceptable to own and wear replica sneakers. So essentially, fake sneakers are becoming even easier to get. They're more socially acceptable, and the quality has increased to the point where they literally look like the same exact sneaker. I believe a reason for the shift in culture is because these replica sneakers look so similar and almost an exact one-to-one copy of the regular retail releases that most people think, what's the point of paying an extra $400 for a limited shoe that I can get for like half or even less than half the price? High quality replicas have flooded the market, and more people are willing to pay for fake shoes rather than pay hundreds of dollars to a sneaker reseller. And for the people who aren't willing to pay for the replicas, they're either going to get the shoe for retail or they're going to opt for something more original or even a different brand and style altogether as an affordable alternative. And because the replicas look so good and such high quality, it is essentially undermining the actual value of real authentic shoes, which comes onto the impact of social media and how the direction of the culture has shifted. Apps like TikTok and Instagram Reels have increased the rise and fall of trends in fashion and sneakers. Sneaker culture has now shifted where it was all about exclusivity to more about affordability, accessibility, and wearability, and just how easy you can actually wear it in your everyday life. Less people are interested in actually collecting rare sneakers, and more people just want to find shoes that they can put a good outfit with. And with brands like Jordan constantly releasing the same shoes over and over, just adding a slightly different colorway, people are fatigued of seeing the same shoes repeated over and over again. On top of that, the economy hasn't been doing as well as it used to when sneaker prices were highly inflated and we were in a bull market with resale prices like we were back in 2020. There's a lot less disposable income for people to be dishing out on a sneaker release every weekend. Inflation and the economy as a whole has made it so people are a lot more cautious about what they're really willing to spend money on. People just aren't willing to spend so much money on non-essential items anymore, such as sneakers, when they're having to pay for highly inflated groceries, rent, just the cost of living in general. This isn't the case for everybody, but just your average consumer who would just pick up Air Jordans, they don't really care about them as much as they used to when living costs so much like it does right now. So essentially, people are getting smart and prioritizing their financial stability over buying products that they might not even ever wear and just put on a shelf. On top of that, the only time sneaker resellers are actually having to make money is during super hyped and limited releases, such as a Travis Scott Retro Jordan. So average consumers are kind of discouraged of actually going for these hype releases because they know sneaker resellers are going to buy up every single pair and there's not even a chance for them to get them for retail. After so many drops of taking an L after an L and not being able to pick up the shoe you actually want, the shoe that's limited and hyped, people are frustrated and they just don't have an interest in sneakers as much as they used to. Luckily, most brand websites actually have systems in place to deter bots, making it so it's a little bit more fair of a competition and everyone has an equal chance of getting a limited pair of shoes. Although there is a very dark side of reselling. Scalping and artificial inflation means that a lot of resellers are buying up the stock and can almost control the market depending on the release of the shoe. The more hyped the shoes are and the less quantity pairs there are, resellers actually have an advantage and can decide the prices of the shoes. Of course, a lot of times it also comes down to what the consumers are willing to pay for them, but because resellers can have up to 50 to 60% of the entire stock of a limited sneaker, they're able to decide the prices. For example, the Trophy Room Air Jordan 1 release. This was a very controversial release because very many pairs were backdoored and given away to resellers, leading to crazy high prices for these sneakers. So they were able to bump up the prices to $1,500, $2,000 right at the point of the release because they had control of the market. This hurts genuine sneaker enthusiasts who actually want to have that shoe as a collector's item or to wear. Another major issue is the amount of scam and frauds in the sneaker industry. There are so many issues with scammers within the sneaker industry, from people selling fake pairs as real to even payment fraud within certain platforms. Sneaker reselling has become now a playground for dishonest sellers and people just trying to scam you out of your money. Many platforms are even struggling to this day to ensure authentic products that are being sold through their sites. There are just so many scammers out there trying to make a quick buck off of people online that people aren't willing to pay the resale prices because at the end of the day, they might get a fake shoe. Replica sneakers are so hard to tell real from fake. So unless you're going through a platform with expert authenticators like StockX or GOAT, a lot of times consumers just don't know what they're getting. And so why would they be willing to pay $400 or $500 for a shoe that could turn out to be fake? Sneaker resellers' entire profit was made off of social status. People were willing to pay ridiculous prices to have a crazy hyped up shoe that no one else had for their social status. There was once a time when people used to have the expectation and feel the need to buy the most expensive shoes and clothes just so they can flex online. But luckily the culture has shifted where people don't really care about that as much. It doesn't really matter if you have like $1,000 pair of shoes. What matters more now is if you put together a really good outfit. People would rather just pay for a fake pair or an alternative than buy the crazy collector sneakers. There's less of a culture of people actually enjoying and collecting sneakers, and it's more of a fashion staple now, something that people can just have as an accessory to creating an outfit. Genuine sneaker lovers, people who collected shoes, were being outpriced by resellers, but that isn't necessarily the case anymore, with a lot of these new releases being pretty easy to get and being able to be picked up for retail price if you really went for them and you really want them. That isn't the case for all releases though. A lot of times if there's a very hyped up limited pair of shoes, sneaker resellers are always going to be doing the most trying to get every dollar they can out of the consumers. And I feel like most people can agree that sneakers are kind of losing a little bit of cultural relevance, where it is less about really enjoying and loving a shoe and collecting it to being more of an accessory or commodity of an outfit. There isn't necessarily anything wrong with that. There's just a huge shift in the culture of people not really caring about the resale and collecting a bunch of shoes to keep in their closet. So what's next for the sneaker resellers and the market as a whole? Sneaker resellers are so down bad that they're having to go back to their 9-to-5 jobs or even reselling other items. There has even been recent trends where sneaker resellers are going out of their way to flip other items other than sneakers and streetwear, such as technology like AirPods. Some sneaker resellers are even so scummy to the point where they will buy fake shoes and try and sell them as real to unsuspecting consumers. So there's a huge shift of people actually wanting to find real shoes and buy shoes that they really care about and want to wear. With so many releases constantly being shoved in our face by brands like Jordan, people don't really care about buying 1,000,000 pairs of shoes and keeping them as a display piece. They want to buy shoes they can actually wear and put together a really cool outfit with. So people are more focused on actually creating something that is sustainable in the long term, something that they have in their closet they can wear 10 years from now, such as a really good pair of boots or a minimalist sneaker that isn't going to be out of style or out of trend in like 6 months from now. And there's a huge focus on authenticity and originality. A lot of new sneaker brands are coming up and making waves in the community too. And even older brands that didn't used to get their hype, like New Balance and Asics, are coming back in style. I think at the end of the day, people are just so fatigued and over the mass-produced drops. People want something unique that they're not going to see everyone else wearing when they go out. And they just want something that's different and original, something that's just not been regurgitated over and over again. One of the biggest downfalls of sneaker resellers is the companies themselves doing preventive measures to make sure the resellers aren't taking a cut of their profits. Sneaker companies and resellers used to live together and work harmoniously back in the day, because a lot of times the companies actually benefited from sneaker resellers driving up the hype and exclusivity of their products, meaning that people would come back and want to buy for the next release. Companies are now working to minimize sneaker reselling by enforcing stricter rules and banning bots. And now the rules are a lot more strict whenever you go into a sneaker store. Places like Foot Locker and Finish Line, whenever you're going in store to purchase a sneaker on a release day, actually make sure that you have your ID when you're picking up your shoes. If you won them in a raffle, they limit you to 1 pair per person. And if you're waiting in line for any leftover pairs, a lot of these stores actually ask you what size you're going for. That way, you don't just grab whatever's left to flip online. And I feel like these preventive measures are really good for the culture and community, because resellers are getting discouraged. They're losing money. And at the end of the day, sneaker resellers aren't providing any sort of real value. So if you're a sneaker reseller, really the only advice that I could provide to you is put the fries in the bag. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy fashion, streetwear, and sneakers, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.